everybody, welcome to this week's video. We skipped a week because we got backed up, and honestly we didn't have a whole lot to talk about, so we skipped a week on our videos, but we're going to try to get everybody caught up. This week we had several races to get caught up on. 2 weeks ago at Bowman Gray we had twin 25s. I qualified, had a terrible qualifying effort. The car seems to be racing really good at Bowman Gray right now, but our qualifying's off just a little bit. So I threw something at it, and the chance you take with that is that you have a bad qualifying effort and you start in the back. Well, that's kind of what happened to us. At Bowman Gray, it's not the typical qualifying procedure. You only get one qualifying lap. So you get one shot at it, and that's it. Unless you want to use a set of tires in practice, it's kind of hard to make a qualifying run or a mock run, kind of like we do on the tours that we race on. So basically, threw something at it. It didn't work. Qualified 11th. It's not funny. Definitely wasn't funny at the time. There's a rod that runs through the middle of your brake pedal that has two little Heim joints on it that hook to your master cylinders. The master cylinders, for people who are not familiar, is actually what pushes your front brakes and your rear brakes. So when you mash the pedal, that pedal pushes down, it pushes the rod down, it pushes your brakes down, front and rear. That rod broke. I've never even seen that. I've never even heard of that happening. Now, you know, that rod's probably been in the car for a long time, but it's one of those parts where until it breaks, you know, you rarely replace it. So that broke. I go in the corner, no brakes. Luckily, keep it out of the fence. I finished 15th. Jason was able to win that week. He drew 14th, so that put me starting 15th. I missed the redraw. So basically I finished 15th and 13th, I think. So it was just a bad night. You chalk it up for a bad night and you go on about your business. This past Friday night, I know you probably saw some of the posts, and I know you probably heard all the commotion about it, that we went to Concord Motorsport Park. Concord is where they used to hold the North-South Shootout. Concord is by far in my top 2 for favorite tracks. Bristol and Concord probably, depending on how I perform at each track, Bristol and Concord are probably my 2 favorite tracks. After this past weekend, Concord probably moved to number 1 just because of how good we ran. It's just one of those tracks where it's kind of like our super speedway. If you look at an aerial view of Concord Motorsport Park, it's triangle shaped, and the idea of being able to get in the gas here, run through the dog leg wide open, and run into turn 3 before you lift. It takes your breath through there just about every lap. It's just so much fun as a driver. It puts on a great show for the fans. So it was one of those races where I was looking forward to it when I saw it on the Coma schedule. That being said, we went down and we went out on old tires. Me and Jason both were really good in practice. I put on a set of new tires, or a set of 3-lap tires, went out and run. The car was good, temperatures were good, made a couple of minor adjustments. I haven't taken the LFR car with a spec engine. That was the first time we've been back to Concord, obviously. So Concord was the first time being on a track of that size with that. Well, you know what, I can elaborate on that, but basically there's no way to explain the layout and the physics of Concord until you actually see Concord Motorsport Park. It is such a fun track as a driver. Like I said, as a fan, it puts on a great show. I was able to watch the limited race, or the late model race, from the stands. I didn't get across the track before the autograph session, or from the autograph session. I didn't get across before the late model race started. That's the first race I've ever watched from the stands at Concord. And I remember going down, the kid that finished second fell back about 4th and drove his way back to second and was actually battling for the win. And I went down and told him how good a job he did. It was just, I turned into a fan in the stands for a minute. That's the kind of atmosphere that Concord has. So you can imagine as a driver, especially when your car is performing the way it's supposed to, how much fun it is there. Qualifying comes around, and had a little problem qualifying. The car that went out before me, he ran an extra lap of qualifying, so as I come out and I get through the corner and get my tires scuffed in, he triggered my transponder signal. I had to stop. I had to run an extra lap. Not making excuses by any means, but we were on the pole at that time. Jason goes out and knocked me off the pole. So it's kind of hard to be disappointed with me and Jason both on the front row. You know, I've said for years that I want to win. I want to win every time I go out. But there's nothing that thrills me more than to see that 4 car either behind me chasing me or in front of me and me chasing him. That's why we leave here. That's why we put in the hours we do. That's why we spend the money that we do. That's why our family has given everything we've got to racing for that result. So for me and Jason to be on the front row, it wasn't exactly the order that I wanted, but we were both on the front row. So as the race got started, we were joking with each other about who was going to do what and everything. And Concord, this is the first time they've run a race down there in a while, so the track had worn just a little bit. So I knew that it was going to be a little bit of a tire management race. We run on 20s and 30s, which is a little bit softer tire than what we run on in the past there. I knew that it was going to be a little bit of a tire management race, but on the flip side of things, I wanted to be in front so I could set my pace. After I was able to clear Jason coming through the dog leg at the start of the race, and I was able to set somewhat of a pace. There was a couple cars that caught me that wanted to run a little harder than I did. I moved, I let them go, and I was able to pass them back. I led the majority of the first half of the race. We had a pit stop, what do you think, maybe Stephen, about lap 80? Yeah. About lap 80, maybe 90, close to 90. We had a pit stop where we came in. We put a right rear on, we switched our left side tires, we made our adjustments to the car. That's one of the I don't know if it's a perk, but it's one of the rules about Coleman is they don't count caution laps. So you're able to sit there in the pits and make the adjustments you need to make. And I've told my guys this, I think we talked about this at the last Coleman race that we went to at Ace that I won the race, where I restarted like 9th. It doesn't matter where we restart if you get the car back to where it needs to be. And we got it back pretty close to where it needed to be. I drove through the field, I got the lead, and Jason was able to come to second, and lo and behold, we had a Myers 1-2 finish again. So, like I said, man, that's our goal. That's what we strive to do. That's why we leave here, to be 1-2. Now, I know, like I said, I know Jason wants the order to be flipped. If I can't win, man, I want it to be that 4 car. I used to be number 4. My daddy was number 4. My grandpa was number 4. 4 is our family number. So the 1 and the 4 are Myers racing now, and to be 1-2 was what we went for. So it was really awesome to be able to do that. Speedway Auto Auction is just about 5 miles down the road. They have a lot of their employees there that night, and we're able to be there in Victory Lane and experience that. You know, that's an experience that you can't buy, and you know, I'm so glad that they got to experience that there in Victory Lane. It's something that hopefully they'll remember for a long time, to be able to say that our car, the Speedway car, our car won the race. So that was pretty cool that they were there. Moving on, the very next night we went to Bowman Gray. Let me say this before I go any further, because this is the transfer point. We came home, we got here about 2 o'clock in the morning. A lot of my guys stayed here and we switched cars out. Basically what we have to do is the Bowman Gray car, which is here, you can't see it. The Bowman Gray car was sitting here, weighed out, set up, ready to go. The tour car, we unloaded it. We load the stadium car up. We switch out our stadium tires and wheels for our tour tires and wheels. And I think I left up, me and the guys and Jason and whatever, left here about 3:15 in the morning. So thanks to the guys that helped us, that went with us. You know, my priorities are different. I have to be at every race. I'm going to be at every race. But these guys do what they can to be there when they can. So to the guys that put in the effort to be there when they can and to do everything they can, thank you, because I couldn't do it without you. Sponsorship is dollars and they're friends. But the crew guys that actually put in the effort, it'd be hard to do it without you. So thanks, man. The next night, Bowman Gray. This past weekend we had twin 25s. It was double points night. You know, really and truly, at this point in my career and this early in the season, I don't mean to slight it. I don't mean to sound contrary whatsoever, but double points really don't mean anything right now. It can hurt you. It can have a good night, or it can hurt you, but it doesn't really mean that much to me right now. It's double points. This past weekend, I qualified 4th. I think it was 83, 4, 5, and me. I kind of scaled back just a little bit and went back towards the direction that we were in. We're still searching, qualifying. So I had to go out first to qualify. That was a little bit. That's a little bit of a handicap. The Sportsman cars had their 100 lapper this week. Congratulations to Taylor Branch on winning the 100 lapper. But they go out and qualify right before we go out and qualify. So their rubber doesn't quite match. It's a little bit greasy. That's just something you deal with, me and the point leader. We were able to qualify fourth. We go into turn one on the green flag. The 5-car wheel hopped and got into me, and it actually pinned me in, so I had to start last. We were able to work our way back to eighth, and it's easy for me to say. I probably could have advanced if I'd really tried. But when you're in that position and you're halfway through a 25-lap race, and you're sitting there eighth, the winner of the first race will draw, for the redraw for the invert, he'll draw 8, 10, 12, 14, or 16. Well, 8 is the best he can draw. So at that position, I'm eighth. I'm sitting there thinking, okay, if I finish right here, I've got a good shot at a draw for the second race. I finished eighth, and he redrew 10th. That put me starting third. So I think the 71 car was first, and I started third. We were able to get going, and I ran behind Dean there for 25 laps and finished second. Don't get me wrong, I wanted to win really bad, but it is what it is. Dean's bumper was kicked up. I couldn't, at Bowman Gray, it's all about the bump and run. I don't mean wreck you, I don't mean spin you out, but if you can, and Dean's car was really loose, and he told me that after the race, but if you can put a move on man and then get by him is one thing. His bumper was kicked up, so had I tried to hit him, it would have run under him, and when he got in the gas, it would have lifted him up and spun him out. So it was one of them where I just kind of suffered through it, and we finished second. In the grand scheme of things, the 83 got turned around at the end of the race. Jason had rear end problems the first race, and we gained points on a lot of the guys that we're racing for the championship with. That's a side note, and that was a good night for us, but I go to win, so it was a little bit disappointing on that end of things. So, with that being said, we have this weekend is the K&N weekend. The K&N Cars Touring Series will be there on Saturday night. It throws a little bit of a kink into the regular Bowman Gray schedule. So what we'll do is our Friday night, we'll run this Friday night, which is, if you're watching this tonight at Thursday at 9 o'clock, it'll be tomorrow night. It will be like a regular Saturday night show, but it'll just be on Friday night. It is a 100-lapper. Well, I'm sure everybody's familiar now with the 100-lap Colors Edge Challenge, to where if you qualify in the top 4, you can elect to start in the rear to get a bonus. Well, nobody won it the first week, so now it's up to $6,000. If nobody wins it Friday night, we run a 100-lapper on Saturday night in conjunction with the K&N cars, and it'll be up to $9,000. So, it's kind of like, it's kind of funny, really. To me, it's funny because of the drama that Bowman Gray already creates, and now you're throwing into this big bonus, this big pot of bonus money. There is no telling what to expect. It's a little bit frustrating on my end. If I was a fan, I'd probably be sitting there. I'd be the first one through the gate. I'd have a cooler with some pop in it and some snacks, and I'd be sitting there the first one in the gate. But on my end of things, it's a little bit frustrating because I know that if I qualify in the top 4 and I do go to the back, that I stand a chance to get back to the top 4 and make $6,000 or maybe even $9,000. That pays more than the championship does. So it's one of those deals where you just, what I'll do personally, let me just stop and say this, what I'll do personally, is there a chance I'll be in the top 4? Yeah. Is there a chance I won't? Sure is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over there. I go out first again this week. I'll qualify. If I make the top 4, it'll be a game time decision. I'll decide at that point whether I'll go to the rear or not. For $6,000, I'd say it's probably a pretty good chance I'm going to do it because, here's the way I look at it. You hear some guys say that they're not doing it for the money, or they're doing it for the fans, or doing it for this. But guess what? If I go to the back to try to come back to 4th to win $6,000, I can put $6,000 in my pocket to help pay the bills on my race card. And I'm also putting on a show. So isn't it for both? So with that being said, we'll go over there this weekend. We'll take on Friday night head on, and we'll see what happens. And it'll be cool to watch the K&N race. I've tried for years to get a ride in that K&N race. I really feel like with my experience there, you know, if I could get a ride in one of those K&N cars, that we'd have a really good shot at winning the race. But you know how it is today with politics and money. They all want a pocket full of money to be able to do it. One of these days, maybe somebody's going to take a chance on me and put me in a car, and we'll see what can happen. But anyway, like I said, this weekend, two 100 lappers. Come out and see us. It's going to be exciting. You can count on that. If nothing else, it's definitely going to be exciting. I want to take this time to thank the sponsors, the people who financially helped make me be able to be as successful as we can be. Speedway Auto Auction, like I mentioned earlier. As always, Citrus Safe Cleaners, Tommy and David Lancaster and Steven, of course, coming out and doing the videos. These people who make it happen for us. Without these people, it'd be hard to do. Adams, Toll and Doug, Wendy and all those people. Lucia Trantham, Budget Sales and Leasing. Remington Scent Control Technologies, True Timber Camo, Dry Fire. I want to mention Dry Fire. Dry Fire is a fireproof underwear that the drivers or crew members, I think even law enforcement now are starting to wear the Dry Fire fireproof underwear. I hope that I never get to test Dry Fire underwear, because that means that I got on fire. So, from a driver's standpoint, basically what I look at is comfort. And this time of year when it's starting to get warm, and I've already got my 3-layer, my new Sawbelt uniform on that Randall Race Products put together for me. When I put that suit on, I look for comfort. And the Dry Fire underwear that I wear is extremely comfortable, it's extremely light, and I can barely tell I got it on. So with that being said, thank you Dry Fire for providing me this stuff. But you know, I feel like I'm missing somebody. Oh, my stadium car, it's a spinoff. It's touring the stadium, have a couple of different sponsors that are a little bit different. Haviland Express Lube in Kernersville, John's Cleanup Supply, he helps me everywhere. You know, like we've said before, we could sit here and I can go on, and I don't want to sound like one of these cup guys, not to knock it, but because I know that's what pays your bills, but you get out of the car and you turn the drink just right to thank your certain sponsors. Listen to me, at our level, racing at our level is like having a boat. You put all your time and all your money into that boat, and the enjoyment you get is riding on the weekends. The reason that I get to do that is because these sponsors can gain enough exposure and help me get in victory lane. So I couldn't do it without you. With that being said, man, hey, come out this weekend. We got through all the technical, we got through all the red tape, we got through all the sponsors, we got through all the race recap. Let's get down to the real. Come out this weekend, twin 100s. I mean, where else can you go? What is it, $10 a night? Where else can you go for that price? 30 minutes from anywhere you live and see this kind of racing and this kind of entertainment. So hopefully you can come out. Always, man, please, I love going on there, and me and Kim get to talk about where you guys are watching from. There's some military guys, man, it's so cool, especially on Memorial Day weekend. There's some military guys that post from, I mean, they're overseas and posting and pictures and where they're watching from, and say they can't wait to get back to the Dirty South and watch this or see it live. So I'm glad that that triggered my thought here. Memorial Day weekend, thank you so much. I think if you follow this video, you probably saw where there was something about this weekend that I felt closer to my country and closer to God than I have in a long time on Memorial Day. There was a video that we shared that a guy posted that was a Tim McGraw song, and it was video of showing military stuff. You know, I don't want to sound gushy or whatever, but I ended up watching Private Ryan, Saving Private Ryan. Just the idea of the people that it takes a special breed of people to be able to go on purpose. If I had to and it came down to it and I had to go fight, I'd be right there. But to say, I'll go and go on purpose, it takes a special breed of people. So thank you from the bottom of my heart to the people who actually go out and put their lives on the line, and to the ones who have lost their lives. For us to be able to do this, if it wasn't for you people, we wouldn't be able to sit here in my race shop today and shoot a video. So thank God, thank the military, thank everybody, the special forces, the highway patrol, the cops, the police officers, everybody, firefighters, everybody, the people that put their lives on the line for us. Not for anybody, but for us. So thank you. Like I said, I don't want to get mushy, but we couldn't have what we have without you. So thank you very much. I feel like I'm rambling, so Steve is smiling and nodding. I get wrapped up, I get to talking too much, and people have to pull my cord. But thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for everything you do. And maybe hopefully next week we can, man, it'd be awesome to be able to tell you about winning 2 races at Bowman Gray in the same weekend with it. So thank you to everybody for everything you do, and God bless you.